right, Magic fam, what's going on? Welcome or welcome back. If you're my day one, shout out to you. I am JasmineAten, Mystic at the Crossroads, your favorite witch's favorite witch, and this channel is dedicated to helping you manifest a life that you truly love and enjoy through the beautiful art of candle magic, conjure, and all things magical. So let's get into why you are here. The title of the video: don't let nobody tell you practicing your own magic wrong. Like, let's talk about this. This has been nudging at me for a very long time, and it has been a topic that I have debated and I've kind of steered away from and have chosen not to really talk about or touch on my platform. But here is the day that it needs to be happen. It needs to happen because it needs to be said. I am seeing and have been seeing in Facebook groups, including my own, both of my Facebook groups, well, more so in Let's Talk Magic, not so much in Real Talk with Witches, but in other social media platforms, forums, Facebook groups, and even from clients that say this to me during our readings or consultations, that they have been told, you can't do that, or you can't do this, or you're doing something wrong. I was even accused, somebody accused me of saying, like, you can't, what did she say? Whatever, I can't remember the exact comment, but it was in reference to, like, who do you think you are trying to tell another person how to practice their magic? Because I made reference to why that you should have a book of shadows and why you should have a book of shadows, and she was very misinformed by the nature of the comment. But for her to say something like that, everybody should have a book of shadows, in my opinion. You know, and if you know what a book of shadows is, then you understand why. And a lot of people kind of commented on, like, no, you know, whatever, right? If you don't know what a book of shadows is, we'll talk about that in another video, but it is something that I think almost anyone who is dedicated to the craft would say is a useful tool. Anyway, that's not this video. But for people to tell you you're doing something wrong, you can't do it like this, don't do it like that. Let's talk about that and why that is, and why some things you do have to do a certain way. So first of all, let's start with the terminology, practicing magic. What does that mean? It is a practice. It is a routine. It is a ritual, but it is you practicing an art. It is you practicing something, and you're implementing this practice as a part of your life for a desired outcome. And they say practice makes perfect. I feel in spirituality, it's a journey, it's a process, it's a learning curve. I personally have learned so much from my first video that I put on this channel in 2015 till now. My spiritual growth, evolvement, my rituals, my recipes, my candles, how I do things, deities, it has changed 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times because I'm practicing what's right for me and what's right for me in that stage of my life. And for anyone to tell you you're doing something wrong, we want to fix those words. I don't believe, I'm trying to choose my words cautiously because wordplay does matter here. So give me a second. I don't feel that it's anyone's right to tell you that you're doing something right or wrong per se, because magic is all about intention. I do believe, and I know this to be true for me, this could be different for you, but this is what's true for me, and this is what's been true for practitioners before me, which is why these things have been written in books and taught over and over and passed down through lineages. There are particular ways to do certain things to manipulate energy to create the desired outcome. So what I mean by that is, I'm gonna give you an example, and this is a very loose example. So some of you, again, don't come for me. This is an example. A new person, new to spirituality, new to dressing candles, Maybe you've only done this a couple times. Maybe this is your first time. There's so much information out there. And you take a, do I have one here? Let me see, because you guys know I like to use examples for stuff. Hold on. I like to talk with my hands, and I like to show you guys examples. Okay. So, you can tell I wasn't prepared for this, right? You take this candle. Such a pretty candle, by the way. You take this candle, and you're dressing this candle in a downward motion. And your intention is to attract something to you. And someone sees this on your Facebook or your TikTok or your Instagram or whatever, and they tell you, you're doing that wrong. You're supposed to dress your candle from the bottom up. It's not gonna work because you put your oil on from the top down instead of the top up. In my personal opinion, especially if you're new and you're starting out and you're just building a connection with your spirit guides or your higher self or your tools or anything, and you dress this candle from the top down, but as you were dressing the candle, you were praying over it or speaking your intention or reciting an affirmation or whatever, right? You got everything else right. You got the herbs right, you got the oils right, you got the day of the week, you got the moon phase, you got the time of the day, whatever, right? The petition, you got it all. Everything is aligned. I don't even want to say right. I want to say aligned properly. But you put your oil on the candle in the opposite direction. That does not mean that that spell is not going to be effective. It doesn't mean, mind you, because you got everything else aligned, this one thing that you didn't do, but the intention was still there. No one should be ridiculed because of that. No one should tell you, well, you dressed your candle wrong and it's not going to work. Well, how do you know it's not going to work? They don't know it's not going to work. They don't know that you know what I'm saying? Like everything else is in alignment. Why wouldn't it work? I still feel like it will work. Now, when it comes to manipulating energy, and when it comes to drawing in things and attracting things, traditionally, it is taught and is known that you dress your candle from the bottom up because you're drawing in and you're pulling into yourself. But I don't think that that one deviation is going to ruin the potential for your spell to work. Maybe you're not drawing it in. Maybe you're grounding the energy. Maybe for you, your spells, maybe dressing your candles from the top down and ground that energy is what makes it come to fruition. So nobody should be telling you that. And you shouldn't get too hung up on that either. Now, there are ceremonial magic. There are certain steps and certain type of rituals. So for example, there is a proper way of petitioning a specific spirit, especially if you're working with spirits that used to dwell the earth. For example, Marie Laveau, there is a particular veve that she uses. There is a particular way that you set up her altar. There is a particular way that you approach that spirit with respect to invite them into your life. There is a particular way that you build a relationship with deities or ancient gods or goddesses. There is a particular way that if you're doing ceremonial magic, ancient ceremonial magic, and there are steps. Step one, do this first. Maybe this opens up the portal to the spirit world. Maybe this is putting the offering before the gods or goddesses or deities before you light your candle. Step one, do this. Step two, do this. Step three, do this. Then those things should be followed. They have been proven to work, and sometimes that information is channeled from a spirit themselves. There is a respectfully aligned way to approach certain types of rituals, spirits, and spiritual systems. If you have been initiated or you are planning to become initiated in a spiritual system, you are going to be taught a certain way in a particular order to do things in order to have said result outcome, manifestation, whatever you want to call it. That's different. It's like you going and taking a cooking class and you want to bake a cake, you know what I'm saying? You want to put the cake powder in the oven without putting the eggs in it, and you didn't whip it, and you didn't pre-light the oven, and you just you empty the box of powder in the pan and stick it in the oven and wonder why my cake didn't bake. You didn't follow the order of operation. You didn't follow the way that this particular system or spirit works to get the results that you want. That's different. But for anyone to tell you you're not doing it right because you light your money candles on Wednesday instead of Thursday, you feel red candles work for your money better than green does, you didn't use Florida water in your spiritual bath because you never use Florida water, it irritates your skin, you chose to use this type of candle instead of this type of candle, when you were dressing your candle you went this way when you should have went this way. Nobody should be telling you that. Nobody should be telling you what to put on your altar. Now again, there are certain things that can be used as reference and as guidance and to help you tap into that energy. If you've ever done a coaching session with me, or if you've ever had a reading and you've asked me, what should I have on my altar? I'm going to tell you based on what has worked for me, based on what I have learned and studied, based on what everybody else has done that I have shared with, or other people in the way they practice, and based on the type of magic that you're practicing. Candle magic can be interchanged in any spiritual setting. My personal practice, I utilize elements of the earth. My roots, I would say, would be rooted in Wicca to a certain extent, because I don't align with the threefold law. I don't say that it's wrong and I don't say that it's right. It just doesn't align with me and my personal belief system. However, my altar setup contains, if you were to look up what a Wiccan altar with something that represents the 4 elements, earth, air, water, fire, I have those elements on my altar, but that's because to me, magic is earth-based anyway. Whether it's Wicca, whether it's Palo, whether it's hoodoo, whether it's voodoo, it's still earth. There's some earth element in your magic. There's going to be some water somewhere, some fire somewhere, something to represent the earth, whether it's dirt, a plant, clay, a crystal. There's going to be some earth somewhere in there, right? And there's going to be some air in there. There's going to be some incense burnt or some roots burnt or something. There's going to be some of the 4 elements. So place those on your altar. That's what I would tell someone. But no one can tell you what to set on your altar, what's right, what's wrong, put this, don't put that, unless you are setting up a specific space to attract something. So if you're trying to do a love altar to attract self-love or confidence or a new partner, then yeah, I'm gonna tell you, burn your love candles on your self-love altar. Don't burn your love candles on your money altar, right? But if you did, does that mean it's wrong? No, you're still doing the work. Does it mean it's not going to work? Well, I can't determine that. Who can determine that? I'm not God. They aren't God. Are you? I mean, we are in a sense, right? We all have a piece of God in us. We are a physical representation and manifestation of the Creator. Yes, but I can't tell you if you do it like this is not gonna work. What I can tell you, when a client comes to me and says, I've been doing this way and it's not working, I can help you identify and I can make suggestions and say, well, maybe if you took that candle off of your ancestor altar and put it on your prosperity altar, you'll see a shift in your finances. Maybe if you took that candle off your ancestor altar and set up a love altar, you'd finally attract that one. So I can guide you, but I'm not going to say what you did was wrong, because it wasn't. Whatever you do in your practice, whatever you feel led to do intuitively, or you do, is what you're supposed to do, and either it's going to work or it's not going to work. See, magic is just that. It is magic. It's not a prescription. Well, it can be. It's a formula. But it's not a science like that. Yes, it is a science, it's a pseudoscience. There is science behind magic and spirituality. But it's not like if I put these ingredients in this cornbread is going to come out identical every single time. It's not that. It's just not the case. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you comment down below if this is making sense to you, please comment this is making sense. When you practice magic, the outcome you get is based on several things. It's based on the tools that you use, the intention that you set. You can even narrow it down to timing that you do the spell. There's so many factors that go into moving that energy to create a desired outcome. I'm gonna go off a little bit. I was talking to a client a couple of days ago, and she told me she had a consultation with another spiritual practitioner. And he told her, and it's funny because a lot of, when clients tell me stuff like this, it always comes from men for some reason. No shade against men or male practitioners at all, but I had 2 clients in the same week get some really crazy information that came from a male practitioner. And I was just like, in my head, like, do they talk to the same guy? Who is this person? But he told her, you can't read your own cards. Like, you cannot, this is what she said. I don't know, she might watch this video, but he told her, you can't read your own tarot cards for yourself. Why? If that was the case, why did they sell them? If I can read cards, if I understand the cards, if I'm intuitive, if I know the meanings of them, and I can read them for someone else, why can't I read them for myself? Like, he made it, from what she shared with me, he made it seem like, don't ever read cards for yourself. You can't. Yes, you can. Now, as a reader, right, I can understand when you're in a situation and you're trying to get some clarity and answers, and sometimes when you're going through stuff in life, you're too emotionally involved in that situation, that you may throw those cards and you're really trying to see what you want to see in that, or, you know, or maybe it's a little hard to separate yourself and see that reading objectively for yourself. I could see why one would say maybe not do that. And for those of you who read tarot, especially those who read it professionally, I'd really like to know, comment down below, do you do your own readings or do you get them done? So I will pull my own daily spread. I'll pull my own, you know, what's this week looking like type of thing. Me personally, when I have something really serious, I don't do my own readings. I have a very close girlfriend / spiritual sister who I trust, and I will go to her and ask her to pull cards for me. Or I have paid for readings. Definitely, I've paid for readings from people I didn't know, because sometimes you have to have someone that can, outside of you, that can look at your situation objectively and look at your card reading objectively and really give you the answers that you need to make an informed decision. But for anyone to tell you you can't do your own reading, that's bullshit. And I would run in the opposite direction, okay? I have heard, oh, here's the good one. Oh, this is the one, and I think I wanted to save this for another video. I did want to save this for another video, but it's too late now. The cat's out the bag. I'll mention this in the other video too. But I had a client tell me she paid for spell work, and this individual who's doing her spell told her it's a 5-year guarantee on the results. And I was like, wait, what? A 5-year, and she paid him a lot of money. Like, I think she probably covered his mortgage for that month. And he told her guaranteed 5 years. Well, I hate to break it to y'all. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Nobody can guarantee the results of a spell or how long. You cannot do that. You don't know how long a spell is going to last. Spells are not like batteries. They don't come with some 3-year warranty. Anyone, if you've ever had me do spell work or you've asked me a question about spells, I will tell y'all the same answer. I cannot tell you that Thursday of next week at 2 o'clock, this spell is gonna work and it's gonna last for a year. I would be lying to you, just like he was lying to her. I know she didn't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Magic, spirituality, and spells is a manipulation of energy to create a desired change. You can't guarantee it's going to work. There is no guarantee. You want to know why there's no guarantee in spell work? Because if there was, we would all be using spells to win the lottery and nobody would be watching my video right now. You know why? I wouldn't even be shooting this video because my ass would be somewhere on an island drinking out of a coconut, spending my money and not talking to y'all. No offense, I love you guys. But you see what I'm saying? If there was a guarantee, don't you think we'd all have the lottery numbers by now? No. And you damn sure can't guarantee how long a spell is going to work. It doesn't work that way. Spirits don't do that. Not only is that disrespectful to the universe and to the spirit world, it's bullshit. I said it, and somebody may disagree, and I don't really give a flying pig's patoot what you think. Anybody who tells you, one, I guarantee 100% results, or two, it's gonna last this long, they're lying. Don't spend your money, run in the opposite direction. Because spells and energy are affected by choices and decisions. If I do a spell for you to get a job, and you get that job, and you get fired 2 days later because your ass showed up late, it's not because the spell didn't work, the spell didn't expire, I didn't do it wrong. You didn't show up for work, period. So to tell somebody I'm gonna do this spell and it's guaranteed to last 5 years, when a decision that person might make 2 days after the spell manifests, if it was even really being performed, can change whether or not that spell is going to continue working, because people have free will. People have free will. And people seem to think that when you do spells on other people, they're gonna walk around like zombies, like in the movies, and just, okay, I do it. It doesn't work that way. Come on, people, use common sense. If you are gonna spend your money, and I understand some people don't know, and they're in a situation and they really, really want this change to happen, but you know when some things sound too good to be true. And that was one of them. And I'm sorry, I went on a rant because it upsets me. It upsets me for someone to make that promise to somebody, because it's not true. And I don't know, I'm not initiated. Maybe there are some spiritual systems out there that can guarantee 100% this is gonna work, but I have yet to come across at least anybody that I know who practices, and I know people that practice different type of magic. I know people who are initiated who aren't initiated. I know people that provide spiritual services and spell work just like I do. And I really feel like anybody who's truly experienced and has studied and is ethical and a professional would be mindful of making those sort of promises, because what happens when it doesn't work, and now that upset client that just paid your mortgage for 3 months comes back and says, what happened to my guarantee? What happened to my 100%? What happened to the spell that you promised me was going to work for X amount of time, and it worked and it stopped working? Then what do you say to them? You ask them for more money to do more spell work? You give them some fluff about why it didn't work? What? I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't even know how I got on this topic. Oh, I do. Because I'm sick of people being told shit that's wrong. It's wrong. How long has it been? It's almost 30 minutes I've been talking to you guys, so I'm about to wrap this up. My point is, study. Study, do your homework. Practice on your own, do it for yourself. I had someone on Instagram today message me asking me for a particular spell to make somebody call them. And I told her the same thing I tell everybody. If you go on my YouTube channel, I have plenty of spells on communication, reconciliation, come to me, attraction. She replies back and says, well, can you just recommend a particular one? I cannot. First of all, sweetheart, you're not paying me. I hate to say it like that, but you're getting some free information over social media that I just so happened to be online and saw your message and chose to reply to. You're not a paying client. I'm not obligated to give you anything. You're not my homegirl. And second of all, I don't know your situation. So I'm not just going to shoot spells out there throwing darts in the dark. When it comes to, when you do spell work, you're tampering with somebody's life. The decisions they make and the spells that you cast can be life altering. I can't advise you on something. I don't even know why you're doing it. So I redirected her back to my YouTube channel. You are welcome to do your homework and watch the videos and figure out which video sounds like it aligns with what you're looking for and try that spell. Or you're more than welcome to book a private consultation. I will gladly tell you what you need, but you have to pay for it. So I feel like there's too much information floating around, and a lot of it is helpful, but some of it can be harmful. And a lot of people are in positions in their life where they're really at a place where they're needing some change to happen. So they will take what someone says for face value and sort of run with it out of desperation. I use that term lightly. Don't get your feathers in a tizzy. But when you're in a place where you're like, I've done everything and this is my last resort to try to fix the situation, and someone comes along and tells you, I promise you, I 100% guarantee you're gonna have these results and they're gonna last this long, it's very easy for someone to, you know, feel like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And hopefully it works for that client, you know, I hope it does. I hope it works for anybody that gets told that. But that's not how I run my practice, and that's not something I would ever say to a client, but to each his own, you know? In the bottom line of it all, you can practice magic. You don't need anybody to do spells for you. You really don't. There's reasons why you would want to have it done. There's reasons why you should and would and should hire a practitioner. That's going to be in another video. And then there's reasons and times when you should do it yourself. And we're going to talk about that next time. But all in all, you're the person in the situation. You're the one practicing your magic. You're the one figuring out what works for you. You are the one manifesting your life and your destiny. You're not doing it wrong, honey. You're following your intuition. And maybe you may have to tweak some things, and maybe adding this to the altar, taking that off, or dressing this candle, or doing things in these certain steps will help, because that's the way they were designed within that system. But don't let anybody tell you that you're doing something wrong. Don't. It's your practice. It's what works for you. What works for you is not going to work for the next person. What works for the next person and what works for me isn't going to work for you guys. I burn green money candles. They work great for me. I have a friend that burned green money candles and they did nothing. He started burning red and all this money started coming and his business got better and his clients picked up. So what I share here, I never claim to know everything because I don't. I stay in my lane. I know candle magic. Now, I am a candle magic expert. That title I will hold on to. I know candles very well. My mother practiced candle magic. I've been in the world of candle magic since I was 4 years old. No lie. I don't know a lot of other things. Don't ask me how to sacrifice something. I don't know. Don't ask me about voodoo. I'm not initiated. Don't ask me about Palo or Ifa. I'm not initiated. I don't know that. You want to ask me about crystals? You want to ask me how to blend an herb, an oil, how to construct a spell properly, what candle to use, what moon phase? If you want to come to me and ask me what candle to use, I got an answer for you. Now that I can answer. But you can't ask me about certain things because I'm not an expert, and I'll tell you that. I don't know. I'm not a medium. I'm a clairvoyant. There's a difference. I stay in my lane. People need to learn how to stay in their lane and stop making fake promises to get people's money and then can't deliver. I've done spells that have worked great. I've done spells that never worked. I've had clients come to me for spell work and it didn't work. It did not work. The spell did not work. Or what they wanted didn't turn out the way that they want. Does that mean I did something wrong? No. Does it mean that the spell, it means that maybe it wasn't supposed to be done? Maybe, you know, that's, again, that's another video. There's a lot of reasons why spells don't work. Whether you do them, I do them, you pay 100 people to do them. There's a lot of reasons why spells don't work. The best spell is the one you do on your own. But if you are going to seek somebody out to do them for you, or if you are going to share your personal spiritual work online on social media, and for someone to tell you you're doing it wrong, block them. Don't listen to them, move on. And if you're really concerned that you're doing it wrong, book a consultation. It can be with me, doesn't have to be with me. There's so many other skilled practitioners out here. There's a ton of other skilled practitioners. Book a consultation with somebody who's been doing this longer than you and get the clarification that you need. But don't let that discourage you. Don't take that energy from someone else and let that transmute into your magic, and don't walk around feeling like I can't manifest anything because I don't know what I'm doing or I'm not doing it right. Read, research, read a book. Can't get what you're finding on YouTube because it's conflicting information? Get a book, sweetheart. Get an old book. Get an old witchy book. Don't do none of these new frou-frou books where these newbie witches that been practicing magic for 2 years, now they done wrote a book on it. No, honey, get yourself an old book from an old witch that wrote that book like 15, 20 years ago. Get one of those books and study and sit and meditate and get quiet and trust yourself. What I find, and I'm gonna leave you guys with this because now I feel like I'm ranting. What I find is people don't trust themselves. You don't trust yourself enough, so when you're told you're doing it wrong, you just run with it and get discouraged. Trust yourself. You are the magic and you are the candle. All right, y'all. If you want to book a private session with me, a one-on-one coaching session on working with your altars or your candle magic, if you want to chat with me privately, if you just want to come hang out and join the party and the family on social media, all that information will be down in the description box below. I love you guys. Stay tuned for my next video where we are going to be talking about a couple of things. One, whether or not you should be paying for spell work or doing it yourself. Yeah, that's a big one. And who not to let do your spells for you. All right, fam. Talk to y'all soon. Till next time.